thought he had survived the worst of Ukraine's arsenal, but a Cold War nightmare has just woken up. Deep within the 52nd Artillery Brigade, a weapon once retired by the Pentagon, is now conducting a tactical extinction event on Russian lines. No fanfare, no warnings, just 90-kilogram shells erasing $10 billion in armor. Without any dramatic announcement or fanfare, Ukraine has quietly integrated one of the world's most fearsome heavy howitzers into its arsenal, rendering large parts of Russia's outdated tactics and concentrated troop formations virtually useless in key sectors. Ukraine's own commanders never fully expected this powerful reinforcement to arrive so effectively. Russia had absolutely no idea it was coming. But thanks to a smart Cold War-era American design, that Ukraine has now revitalized, the Ukrainian armed forces possess a game-changing weapon capable of delivering massive long-range destruction that could help turn the tide against Putin's grinding spring offensive. The weapon making headlines is the formidable 203mm M110 self-propelled howitzer, now actively serving with Ukraine's elite 52nd Separate Artillery Brigade. According to reports from United 24 Media and the brigade's own social media confirmation on April 2nd, these heavy-tracked guns are already slotting seamlessly alongside Ukraine's domestically produced two S-22 Bodana wheeled howitzers and Czech-supplied RM-70 Vampire multiple launch rocket systems. The brigade casually mentioned the M110A2 in a post almost as if it were just another piece of equipment, but make no mistake, this is no ordinary addition. It is a heavy-hitting monster that brings raw, overwhelming firepower to the fight, and its arrival is about to force major tactical shifts on the front lines very soon. How did Ukraine manage to acquire these powerful Cold War relics in the first place? The M110 is a retired US system, yet retired does not mean obsolete on today's battlefield. The story traces back to a major transfer deal in October 2025 when Greece approved the sale of up to 60 of its US-made M110A2 howitzers to Ukraine, routed through the Czech Republic as part of a broader ammunition initiative. The package, valued at around 199.4 million euros, roughly $230 million, also included a massive stockpile of approximately 150,000 shells and even some Zuni rockets. Greece, modernizing towards standard 155mm NATO systems, viewed the M110 as surplus. After decades of service since the early 1980s, when it operated as many as 145 units. For Ukraine, this was a golden opportunity to acquire proven long-range heavy artillery without waiting for new Western production. The ammunition breakdown makes the deal even more lethal. Ukraine received 50,000 high-explosive M106 rounds, 40,000 rocket-assisted M650 rounds capable of extended range, and 30,000 each of the M509, A1 dual-purpose improved conventional cluster munitions, and M404 improved conventional munitions. Each massive 203mm shell packs around 90 kilograms, nearly 200 pounds of explosive power, delivering a sledgehammer blow that can shatter hardened positions, troop concentrations, and armored formations in a single strike. On the battlefield, the M110 brings exactly the kind of heavy firepower Ukraine has needed to counter Russia's attritional meat grinder tactics. The howitzer sits on a tracked chassis powered by a 405-horsepower diesel engine, giving it solid mobility with a top road speed of around 55 kilometers per hour and the ability to reposition quickly after firing shoot and scoot tactics that keep crews alive under Russian counter-battery fire. It can elevate from -2 to 65 degrees and traverse 30 degrees left or right with manual backup controls in case hydraulics fail. While sustained fire is about 1 round every 2 minutes, it can surge to higher rates in intense moments, though each vehicle only carries 2 ready rounds, with the rest transported by support vehicles. The crew totals 13 personnel, 5 on the gun itself and the rest handling logistics in a tracked cargo carrier. What makes this weapon truly terrifying for Russian forces is its reach and impact. Standard high-explosive rounds achieve ranges of 16.8 to 25 kilometers, while rocket-assisted projectiles extend that to 30 kilometers or more. Imagine Russian assault groups massing for another desperate push in the Kharkiv or Kramatorsk sectors, areas already turned into hellscapes during Putin's spring offensive. Ukrainian spotters using drones identify troop buildups, command posts, or ammunition depots. Moments later, the M11Os roar to life. Massive 200-pound shells scream through the air and slam down with earth-shaking explosions, sending shockwaves that rip apart vehicles, shred infantry in the open, and collapse fortified positions. In one recent intense period in March 2026, Russian forces launched over 600 assaults in just 4 days, suffering more than 6,090 casualties, an average of 1,522 per day. Ukrainian artillery, now bolstered by these heavy M11O guns, played a key role in turning those assaults into slaughter. Burning Russian tanks and armored vehicles litter the fields, while infantry caught in the open face not only FPV drone swarms, but also the sudden arrival of these heavy shells that create craters wide enough to swallow entire squads. The 52nd Artillery Brigade is already operating in critical eastern sectors, including around Kramatorsk, a vital stronghold in Ukraine's Donetsk fortress belt that stretches along key highways. Russian forces have poured men and machines into attempts to breach this belt, using outdated wave-after-wave tactics, reminiscent of World War II. Ukrainian defenders have responded with layered kill zones filled with anti-tank mines, dragon's teeth barriers, barbed wire tunnel networks for ambushes, and constant overhead drone patrols. When Russian columns try to bypass these zones, they are funneled into open killing fields where M11O shells combined with Bodana precision strikes and vampire rocket barrages create absolute carnage. The M11O handles the heaviest hardened targets that lighter systems struggle with, freeing Ukraine's more mobile guns to strike deeper into Russian rear areas and logistics hubs. This layered artillery approach is devastating. The Vampire saturates assault waves, the M11O crushes follow-on reinforcements and bunkers, and the Bodana disrupts command and supply lines further back. Ukraine's success with these systems has surprised even its own commanders. Russian tactics, sending poorly trained infantry and occasional armor in slow, predictable pushes, have turned the invaders into perfect targets for this revitalized Cold War giant. While Russia continues to suffer record daily losses with spikes like 1,710 casualties on a single day in mid-March, Ukraine is finding new ways to maximize every shell. The combination of heavy M110 fire support and innovative drone integration has created situations where Russian advances stall under a hail of explosions, forcing commanders to watch their units disintegrate in real time. The hatred and brutality between the sides have reached new heights in these eastern battles. Russian forces, blinded by orders to push regardless of cost, keep feeding troops into Ukrainian fire sacks. Ukrainian artillery crews, motivated by the defense of their homeland, deliver precise and overwhelming responses that leave Russian positions smoking and silent. The M11O's arrival amplifies this asymmetry, an old but massively powerful weapon made relevant again because Russia refuses to adapt beyond sending more bodies forward. More M11Os could still be on the way. Greece reportedly held around 85 additional units beyond the initial 60 transferred. Through initiatives like the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List, PURL, which has already channeled over $4 billion in aid. By late 2025, Ukraine might secure even more from other NATO stockpiles or even US reserves if barrels can be sourced or manufactured. The cost effectiveness is striking. The entire Greek package delivered enormous firepower at roughly $1,300 per shell. When factoring in the howitzers themselves, a bargain that pays for itself after just a few successful strikes on high-value Russian targets. What do you think, listeners? With Ukraine now wielding these massive 203mm howitzers, alongside its deadly drone swarms and domestic Bodana guns, turning Russian spring assaults into costly disasters, can Putin's forces break through the Donetsk fortress belt? Or will the M110 help Ukraine inflict even more shocking losses that finally break Russia's momentum? Share your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you believe heavy artillery like this, combined with Ukrainian innovation, will decide the outcome in the East? Or will Russia's sheer numbers eventually overwhelm the defenses? Your opinions drive the conversation and help us deliver even sharper battlefield analysis. The scenes from the front are dramatic and relentless, skies filled with Ukrainian reconnaissance and strike drones spotting targets, followed by the deep thunder of M110 guns, sending massive shells arcing toward Russian concentrations. Explosions light up the horizon as tanks brew up in fireballs and infantry scatter in panic, only to be hunted by follow-up FPV drones. Ukrainian crews move their howitzers rapidly between firing positions, evading Russian counter-battery attempts while delivering blow after blow. This is modern warfare meeting Cold War firepower in a way that has caught Russian planners completely off guard. Russia's invasion continues to bleed out in Ukraine, with unsustainable casualties mounting daily, while territorial gains remain minuscule and expensive. Ukraine, meanwhile, is fighting smarter, harder, and more effectively than ever, surprising even itself with how well these revitalized heavy howitzers integrate into its layered defense and counterattack strategies. This is the hottest war coverage available, packed with drone battles, tank clashes, intense artillery duels, specific frontline situations, and unfiltered praise for Ukrainian ingenuity, alongside clear criticism of Russia's wasteful, outdated human wave tactics. Stay locked in for rapid updates as the M110 make their presence felt even more strongly across the Kharkiv, Kramatorsk, and broader Donetsk sectors. Share this report with fellow viewers who crave real-time military analysis and join the discussion below. What will the next phase of the spring offensive bring? More Russian disasters under Ukrainian heavy fire, or a desperate escalation from Moscow? We are here, bringing you the fastest news, the most gripping battlefield accounts, and the sharpest breakdowns as events unfold live. The M110 howitzer may be decades old, but in Ukrainian hands it has become a revitalized titan that is helping to shatter Putin's dreams of quick victory. A Cold War weapon is now helping write a new chapter in this brutal conflict, one where innovation and determination repeatedly overcome brute force. The hatred runs deep, the battles are fierce, and the drama on the ground shows no signs of slowing. Keep watching. Every new day brings fresh, shocking developments from the front lines of Ukraine's heroic defense. Click a subscribe now. Don't miss a single moment of this historic journey. Your time is valuable. We promise analyses as sharp as reality itself. Stay vigilant, stay informed. We'll see you in the next video. Disclaimer: this video contains content generated or supported in whole or in part by artificial intelligence. This material is intended solely for simulation, illustration, and entertainment purposes. It does not represent real-world events, nor does it constitute political or military advice or verified information. Certain elements may be fictional, dramatized, or inaccurate. Viewers should not rely on this video as a credible source of information or as a basis for real-world decision-making.